my first video where I'm going to cover this morning's LPL games. I'm going to start with OMG and Thunder Talk here. I will be doing daily videos. Like I said in my first episode, if you didn't catch my LPL preseason power rankings, I uploaded it last night. Here, I watched both games. As of this moment, the RNG game is going on right now. I will be talking about that in the second half of the video. There will be a jump cut. I do intend on doing these pretty much as many times as I can in a one-take format when it comes to covering these games, because I feel like you can do more things with your personality. It's more authentic. It's more, genuine of what's happening. So, in game one, TT got out to an early lead. Thunder Talk got out to an early lead. I thought Southwind, in my first video, said Southwind maybe is their best player, probably is their best player. And he showed that in the early phases of the game, going 1-0-2 in the first 8 minutes on Thresh. He was creating mismatches in the bot lane, making plays. He even made plays in the river that led to them getting the first Drake. However, in doing so, they gave away the Rift Herald to OMG, and that was what ended up hurting them in the end. OMG dropped it top. Were able to create an advantage in gold. Kareem was able to create an advantage in mid lane. Just beating Captain straight up. And then in doing so, with this advantage, they're able to get the second rift. And with the second rift, they just dropped it mid, and that was pretty much the game. I mean, OMG dominated this series 2-0. Outside of the first 8 minutes, like I said, where Southwind was able to control play in the bot lane, things really were all OMG. They dropped rift at 18 minutes. Sean G gets a double kill on Gwen, and that was pretty much it. I mean, that double kill by Sean G created what they needed to be able to then go dive again to get the Baron. By getting the Baron after a 4-1 team fight win, they, won the game. I mean, the first game was an easy win for them. Like I said, this was a dominating performance by OMG. Game 2, they just went after New in the top lane and absolutely demolished him. Aki went top lane, and Aki or Akai, I will figure out how to pronounce a lot of these names over time. He went top lane in the matchup between Gangplank and Rumble and got a triple kill. TT just faltered in trying to stop the bleeding in the top lane. It was just a massacre. New ended up, I believe, 1-5 and 1 through 12 minutes. And when you look at it, you can't look at it. I only did so well with their handwriting. When you look at the game in total, it was just taking advantage of the weak spot of Thunder Talk in the top lane. And they just snowballed from there. The second time they went top, Kareem got a triple. So it wasn't even Shanji getting all these kills. Aki got a triple, Kareem got a triple, and all of a sudden now, the top lane, there was a 50 CS gap, and the mid lane hit a massive gap. The jungle difference was humongous. And it got to the point where Shanji was just solo killing New at 10 minutes. And OMG just took the cloud. They took the next Drake. They were able to dive the base before 20 minutes, and take turrets at the base. Push comes to shove. OMG fights for the rift. Fights for the Baron at 21 minutes. Wins that fight easily. Kareem gets another triple kill. In doing so, they just take the Baron and they push down mid, aren't able to end, recall, push again, easy win. They demolished him. Shanji is my MVP for this performance. He was the difference maker in game 1. And in game 2, he was the beneficiary of some serious resources being put into the top lane. Okay, now the next game of today's LPL matches was between FPX and RNG. Much better series than the first one, I have to say. As I just said, OMG completely smashed Thunder Talk Gaming or TTG or I mean, I'm getting used to these names. It's weird, you know, uncommon team names. But nevertheless, FPX RNG. We all know who these guys are. FPX comes with a different look this year. No more Do and Be. They're relying on LWX and Hung in the bot lane, and they came out on top in this one, 2-1. Game one was more so a crushing by LWX. I mean, LWX completely dominated this game. Early game, he had a double kill at 11 minutes. He had another double kill in 19 minutes when RNG took the third Drake. That was the only time RNG even was able to really make a push against FPX once LWX started getting going. I mean, outside of Jahu's 1v1 kill on Gory in mid lane to start off the series, really, RNG had nothing going in game one. It kind of snowballed from there. LWX was up 3k gold. He was really, really controlling play. FPX takes the Baron at 20 minutes, pretty much on spawn. Afterwards, a power play put them up to 6k gold, and at that point, it was pretty much unstoppable for RNG. I mean, RNG could not put a stop to it. LWX goes to Soul Point. I mean, not LWX, FPX. Gosh. They take the second Baron again. They're up double-digit gold lead. I mean, 10k. It was insurmountable for RNG. With Infernal Soul, FPX wins game one. I have to say, LWX was probably the he obviously was a vocal point, as I keep saying. I mean, he had multiple double kills, big gold lead. They invested a lot into him. They invested a lot of resources, dropping Rift Herald to give him solo turrets. The issue is why he's not my MVP and Bechuan is my MVP is because LWX pretty much disappears the next two games. In game two, RNG completely smoked FPX. FPX came out flat in this game. RNG changed the bot lane matchup. They went Enchanter with Karma. And, I mean, that's where the advantage came. I mean, in the early game, they took a 2-0 lead in bot specifically. Then they pushed that lead, taking Drakes on spawn. They were already at Soul Point before 20 minutes. They take the Mountain Soul uncontested, essentially. And, sure, you know, the game was kind of moving a little bit slower than, you know, you'd think it would, given how much of a blowout it was. I mean, RNG did struggle in the late game to close it out. There was a point where FPX stole the Baron and were able to tie the game up at 25 minutes despite being against the Mountain Soul. And it just... RNG looked... They couldn't finish the deal. It was kind of frustrating. I'm speechless because it's kind of frustrating because the game was there. They allow the Baron to get stolen, and then they're able to take a contested Elder. And I mean, but it took multiple Elders to be able to end the game. I mean, Elder Drake, you should be able to end the game, or especially a team like RNG against a team like FPX, a young team. It took a while. It took 36 minutes before RNG finally won. I mean, there's lots to be desired from that game. I believe. I mean, I would not be happy. Outside of being the victor of that game, I would not be happy with how I performed, given how hard it was to finish a game that ended up being 16-3 in kills. Like, they allowed FPX to hang around for a long, long time. Game 3, deciding factor. I mean, all came down to this. Early game, RNG had control again. Mid lane, they put it all in Jahu. Wei came into mid lane twice, ganking with Jarvan. We're able to get Jahu up. The issue was they could not snowball that lead. FPX takes multiple Drakes. They do what RNG did in game 2. They just start taking Drake after Drake after Drake. And they get to Infernal Soul Point at 20 minutes. Now, they're in the driver's seat. With Infernal Soul, with all the extra damage they have now, they control the game. And they're able to take Baron. With that Baron, they're able to get Infernal Soul before 25 minutes. RNG may have been up in kills at this point because they were able to do pick plays. Back and forth, the teams were doing pick plays. And the gold was close, but FPX were taking the objectives that mattered. They were able to play the late scaling composition. And, I mean, similar to how RNG struggled in Game 2 to finish out. I mean, FPX had their difficulties, but I never for a second thought that RNG could win this game. I mean, at 27 minutes, Ben was able to be a hero, get a double kill in the top lane in a little skirmish that, could have ended the game for FPX down top lane. But outside of that little blip, the mid to late game was all FPX. FPX wins the fight for Baron again at 31 minutes, and then they're able to end down mid. Gory had a double kill. Those were his only 2 kills of the game. I mean, I'm not going to make him MVP. That's why I made the jungler MVP. I feel like he prioritized objectives. He took the objectives in the 3rd game. That's what won them the game. I think that steal of Baron in Game 2 almost won them that game because RNG could not recover from that for another 15 minutes, which was, unacceptable. It's the first game of the season, so, you kind of got to give them a little bit of break. But later in the season, that's an unacceptable thing to do. I mean, that's kind of it for this, matchup, the better of the 2. I mean, it was much closer than the first one. Like I said, OMG smoked TT. So, thank you for watching. If you like this video, come back tomorrow for more content. I obviously changed the lighting in this second video. I'm going to get a bigger whiteboard because this is ridiculous. You can't even read this. I'm debating on what to do about the video quality. Obviously, you can't read it with the video quality as well. Hopefully, my explanation of the game is more so what you're coming for is the, highlights. Like, you could read this and be like, oh, well, he said that LWX had a double kill here, LWX had a double kill there. And the timestamps or whatever, minutes, around what minute the play happened. But if I'm explaining it properly, regardless of what it says here, you should be able to go to the video yourself if you want to actually see the highlight. So, subscribe if you like the video. Like it if you like it. Tomorrow I will be back with more content, more games. I'm going to be covering all 4 series, trying my best at least. I know I obviously need a bigger whiteboard for a day like Saturday. I mean, Friday, there's games all day. It's going to be a true test. I mean, maybe this will be a 1-week thing where all of a sudden I'm like, oh, geez, I probably shouldn't have done it. But thank you for watching. Hope you come back for more.